That it's going to be important, Jordan, for us to elaborate on. You got somebody to respond back and they're like, call me after 10 o'clock or call me after 1 p.m. So can you give us the intro of how you're setting the table with these people when you're doing it over the phone, not face to face?
So I wanted to find a way to concrete appointments, because just like in-home, there are no-shows when it comes to telesales, obviously. So one thing that I would follow up after somebody responded that they wanted a 10 a.m. tomorrow appointment was I'd ask them to save my phone number in their phones, so it wasn't a random phone number calling them and they didn't answer it. So then I did notice somebody brought in the chat box about Calendly. That also is a very helpful tool. If you get an email address from somebody, you can send them a calendar invite. That helps. I found more success off of almost gaining an interaction with them on trying to tell them to put insurance guy in their phone with my phone number in it, make it more personal, even sending a link to a website or a picture of yourself or something so they know who you are and what to expect when you're going to be calling them. It really became fun for me whenever I would have clients answer the phone the next day. Hey, Jordan, how are you? That was the intro to it. Like, they knew who was calling and what I was calling for. That's when it became real to me.
And I think it becomes enjoyable when you don't dread doing something, right? Like, I'm assuming that you enjoyed it because you came from the lot where you were on the phone nonstop. And so you're like, dude, I've been on the phones for 8 years. I don't want to continue being on the phones. And that's why I was very hesitant to tell you guys about what Jordan was doing. Cause I'm like, bro, if I tell my agents not to dial the phone, I'm setting them up for a disaster here. But at the end of the day, I think utilizing Ringy to the best of its ability and just working smarter. Like, there's nothing wrong with dialing your face off for 10 to 12 hours. Cause typically if you dial your face off for 10 to 12 hours, you get results because you put in the time and you put in the effort. But where people sell themselves short is they dial for 3 to 4 hours when they get the same results as somebody who dialed for 10 to 12 hours or 8 hours. Like, there's a difference in between that. There's a big difference in between that. So like, if you're somebody who frays away from the phone or puts in 3 to 4 hours, like, spend 3 to 4 hours texting people. It's like, just increase your activity in one way, shape, or form, because all it is work, and it's time and it's focus. So when you get somebody on the phone, Jordan, like, what did that look like? If you want to role play with me, if you want to just do it on your own, however you want to do this.
I basically just introduced myself. I'd ask them immediately to grab a pen and paper. So again, trying different models. When I put my producer number or my state license number in the text message, it didn't give me a credibility when I got on the phone with them. So I stopped doing that and started with the new approach of just ask, hey, Gage, can you grab a piece of paper and a pen? Do you have anything handy that you can write down on? Yeah, give me some. Okay, great. And so then I would say, hey, I'm regulated by the state, so I'm required to give you my license number so you know that I'm who I say I am. It has all my information on it. So right there, I'm done. I'm like, any objection I could have after that is pretty much concrete. And then I would just go into the financial inventory. People ask me all the time what my script is, and my script is the financial inventory sheet. Amen. I don't have a script. When I get somebody on the phone, I don't want it to be robotic. I don't want it to feel scripted to them. I just start at the top. Hey, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your current mortgage, a few health questions, and some financial standpoint. We're going to get you in the best policy possible for you and your family. So that's it.
And I'm assuming you're filling out the entire financial inventory sheet, right?
There's not a single thing that gets skipped. Family history, 401k, it doesn't matter. It gets put in there, period.
And I think that a lot of us get very excited when we get somebody on the phone and we're like, okay, what's your medications? What's your conditions? Okay, cool. Like, the more fact finding that you get, the more you get closer to the problem. The better you get at identifying the problem, then you can give them a solution. Like my man Booty says, if you don't find a problem, you're pushing products. But when you find a problem, you can give them a solution. But if we're just pushing policies, that's leading us for chargebacks. That's just, we're selling. We're not actually providing value. And so it's really, really big to understand every question on the financial inventory sheet is important. And there's not one part of that financial inventory sheet that is more important than the other. All the mortgage information is very, very important. All of the health information is very, very important. All of the financial information is very, very important, because what it does is it paints a picture for the client about the urgency and the need behind this policy. But if you just run through the health and then go into quoting, you didn't establish what their budget looks like. You didn't establish what their assets look like. You don't understand their full situation, the asset protection, not just mortgage protection. And I think like if we change our mindsets into thinking like we're protecting their assets, not just their mortgage, I think that we become much more valuable insurance brokers to the clients, because we actually care about their whole entire situation. We're not trying to overinsure them, and we're not trying to underinsure them. We're trying to insure them to meet them where they're at with their point. And I think that only happens by the quality of your questions. The quality of your questions will determine the quality of your business. And I would say, Jordan, like if you had to put on a guess, like your persistency across the board, if you had to put a figure on it, what would you say your persistency is?
I've had 4 chargebacks in 7 months, so I don't even know how it is, but in every one of them, I'd like to look at it, and every situation I went straight into quoting because the client wanted a quote, and so I changed that whole deal by telling them I can't even get to the screen on my computer for a quote until I go through this inventory with you. So if all you're interested in is with a quote, you can actually get those online. But my job is to make sure I get you something you qualify for. So until I go through all these steps, I can't even get to that screen. So make it act like we're going through a virtual process that I can't even get there yet. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And that's helped me overcome some of those people that will instantly, well, how much is it going to cost? Yep. I don't have any money. You know, it's like, okay, well, it eliminates all of that.
Yep, exactly. And I think like we do feel the pressure from the clients at times about getting straight to the quote because they're applying that pressure. But I think you guys got to understand when the client is applying pressure, they're taking control of the appointment. And if you don't get back control, it's done. It's a done deal. They're going to tell you they need to think about it. It's too expensive. They don't have the money, like, because they're in control of the conversation and the appointment. So every time I felt like I lost control, I knew it was time. I couldn't move on in the presentation without getting the control back. Because if I didn't get the control back, I was done. I was just wasting my time. I was wasting their time because I understood the importance of always being in control and leading them to where I wanted to go. What kind of questions are you asking to discover why they actually need it? Can you elaborate on that, I guess?
Yeah, so it's always, is there a borrower and a co-borrower? Is it a husband and wife? And I'll concrete that before I make the appointment. So that's a question I'll ask in a text message before it shows that there's 2 people listed on the mailer. Are both parties interested in getting something in place? And if they say yes, then it's when will both of you be available for 15 to 20 minutes? So I honestly, and then the first thing when I get on the phone is, hey, Gage, is Michaela around? Are you guys on speakerphone? No, she ended up having, okay, well, we need to reschedule this appointment until she's available. So that's part of that, is it's really wasteful time because I know Gage is going to have to run any information I have through Michaela before they decide on anything. So don't even put yourself in that position.
So, and I think, so I'm understanding this correctly, like they're responding back to your text message and they agreed to a time, and you're before you just say, okay, cool, see you at 8, you're saying, okay, now I've seen there's 2 names on this card. Are both parties interested in this coverage? And Jordan, we've said this before, my man, and I know you may not have heard it. He did everything over the phone. There was no Zoom at all. But I think that when you actually go back and forth and have a conversation, you fact find before you actually get into the appointment. So I think that it's important that we don't just run and get excited because they give us a time. Like there's still more dialogue that needs to go on for you to be prepared for that appointment. So then, like Jordan's saying, you're not like, oh, well, I need to think about my wife. Like that's the biggest objection, guys. You're never going to sell a one-leg appointment. I promise you. It's just not going to happen. Unless you're Jared Lindsay, it's not going to happen. So it's important to have both of the co-borrowers or husband, wife, or sister, or brother who lives in the same house. They're present, especially if they're both looking at the coverage. So I appreciate you touching on that. And so
you did ask me what the questions were, and that's really important. Is what is Michaela's plan with your home whenever that dreaded day comes? Have you guys even had that conversation yet? I know it's kind of a touchy subject, so probably not, but that's how I'm figuring out what direction to go. Again, it goes back to you only need a year worth of payments on the home just to get rid of it. Or is it a 5,000 square foot home that there's no way you're going to want to upkeep and the kids will be gone by then? Like really strategizing what their game plan is in the event that you were to pass away tomorrow or in 20 years.
And I think, Jordan, that question is very uncomfortable for many agents to ask. But at the end of the day, that is the most important question that you could possibly ask a husband, wife is, Michaela, what is your plan when John dies for this home? Or have you guys not talked about it? So then you get a general idea if they put much thought into this, or if we're going to open up the thought, the thought process and situation, and we're going to talk it out together with them right then and there. Because if they have an idea, then you can cater what you're going to present to them to their idea. But if they don't have an idea, you have to be the life advisor for them and get the wheels to start spinning and to get them to start thinking about it. But I think that if you're not asking them that very uncomfortable question, then you're selling yourself short on these appointments, because that gets the wheel spinning. That gets them to start envisioning and painting the picture of what life looks like after Gage dies or Michaela dies. So the big thing that we always preach is that you have to paint the picture, especially in mortgage protection. Final expense is pretty cut and dry. If they don't get the policy, someone's paying for it. Like it's yes or no in that situation. But painting the picture of you're going to lose $3,000 when you're used to making $6,000 a month, your bills are $2,200. So now you're living off of $800. What does life look like for you, Michaela? Like that paints the picture that you're going from $6,000 a month to $3,000 a month, and you're going to be living off of $800, not $3,200 or whatever that math is that you're used to having as disposable income. Does your life look a lot different? What things are you going to have to drastically change? And I think like one little thing that I would always say when I knew I was going to pitch equity protection, because that's a big thing, I think, for a lot of people. And I want you to give your 2 cents on this, Jordan, too, with equity protection. But equity protection is a way for the beneficiary or their spouse or the loved one to have time to breathe, have time to grieve, and make the best educated decision for their family, and not being forced into a financial decision due to the lack of finances. And I would always say that line to the seniors when I was going to pitch them equity protection. So it painted the picture to them that yes, they want to breathe after they just lost their loved one of 22 years. Yes, they want to grieve and not do anything for a month or two, or just not see other people or talk to other people. Maybe it's 6 months. Like everyone grieves differently. But 3, everybody wants to make the best educated decision on one of their biggest assets. They don't want to be forced into making a financial decision and having to sell the house because they have no other choice. So I think saying things like that, I'll never forget it. This lady started crying to me when I told her that, this will give your daughter time to breathe, grieve, and make the best educated decision. And when I seen that impact that little word track had, I said it to everybody. Now, I didn't get anybody else to cry or really open up to me about that, but I understood the power of my words and making it make sense to them. So Jordan, like when you're dealing with, 65 plus year olds with a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 home, like how do you paint the picture to them that they're not going to get a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 term, that they're actually going to have to get this permanent policy because they can't qualify? Like, what was your psychology, or how would you paint the picture or transition into pitching that to seniors? Because I think that's a big question for a lot of people.
So again, assuming you're the knowledgeable one on the call. So right out of the gate, I would have that conversation prior, like as soon as we start talking past the inventory. So it looks like the most of the qualification per your age is going to be 40,000 or whatever that amount would be. So this will actually give time and enroll right into what you just said for your loved one to grieve, for them to be able to decide what life looks like after you're no longer here. Just converting right into that conversation. So not even, I again, don't really like to talk numbers on the phone. It's like, we'll be able to cover 25% of your mortgage. I don't ever talk in 200, 300, 400. Do you want your full mortgage taken care of, half your mortgage, or 6 months to 12 months worth of your mortgage? Once you flood people with all these numbers, you'll talk yourself out of a policy before you even know it.
Yep.
So giving them the facts, this is the max you could qualify for, is really the way I approach those.
And not being scared to say that. I think that's the big thing, is to like, shit, I only can offer this guy 30,000 and he owes 150,000. Like, how am I going to tell him this or break the news to them? It's like, you just got to be firm and being truthful and transparent with them. I love to say from the beginning of my appointments, John or Jordan, I'm always going to shoot you straight if that's okay with you. And I hope that you always shoot me straight as well. And this will work out a lot better if we can just be truthful with each other. And I say that so when I have to lay down the tough truth about situations where they can only qualify for 30 or 40,000, I can say, hey, Jordan, like I said, I was always going to shoot you straight with your qualifications and your medications and conditions. The maximum that we're going to be able to get you qualified for is up to 40,000. But the reason this is going to be significant is because it's going to buy your loved one time in the really strange time for your wife when she just lost you, when you guys been together for 22 years. So it's being able to say those tough things and being firm with it. I think it's important for agents to understand that, like, they feel the tonality of what you're saying. And we a lot of times don't even understand the tonality that we're giving off. But if you feel disappointed that you only can offer them 30, 40,000, you better damn believe they're going to be disappointed that they only can get 30 or 40,000. But when you can give them some enthusiasm or just an upbeat type of tonality, then it's going to make a lot more sense. But when you're kind of discouraged or like, well, this is all we can get, it's like, remember what you're saying. Like, your words are powerful. So just be careful in what you say and how you say it to the client, because once you tell them something over the phone, it can go left, south, east, west, doesn't matter. You kind of lose control when you're laying down some of these hard facts, but they feel the ability to get better when you're consistently in a good tonality and being firm in what you're delivering. So I really appreciate your time here, Jordan. I think that you provided some great value to a lot of agents who are looking for more, who are looking to increase their sales, who are looking to talk to more people. And I honestly think you gave us very tangible things to do today on our dial day to give us the ability to talk to more people. And so if there's any last parting words that you would like to share with agents about age mortgage leads or whatever it may be, the floor is yours, my man, and I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you as well. The only thing I would say is lead is is just information. So if you can take out a 1 month, a 3-year, a 12-year, a 20-year, all you're doing is purchasing client name, phone number. That's all I need. If I got a phone number and a name, I can create that as a lead. I don't need to know what you owe. Again, the asset protection, just go into it blind. Like you're just there to help them with whatever they're needing. So I joked with you earlier, I'd rather stand on a corner with a Progressive sign and try to get than purchase recycled leads, in my opinion. You know, I got a better chance if I can just get in front of somebody. That's a lead. At a gym, at a church, wherever you go on a regular basis, people need to know who you are, what you offer.
Yep. And I appreciate you touching on that, because I think when you go into the mindset that a lead is honestly just an opportunity to talk, and the mortgage balance doesn't matter. It's really about their assets and what you can do to protect their lifelong things that they've worked hard for. You'll start to increase your sales. So guys, if you got any value out of today, or if you're going to start buying more aged mortgage leads or start working mortgage, please drop a JT in the chat to show my man Jordan Thompson some love. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, Jordan, you know I'm here for you, man. I value our partnership. I value our friendship, and I look forward to helping each other in the future. And I appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, guys.
Thanks, Jordan.
Today, are you guys something to say, Michaela?
Thanks, boss.
I was just saying.